first to Canberra, where there's been another big sitting day today. Joining me for the latest, Liberal Senator from WA, Deputy Leader, of course, of the opposition in the Senate, Michaelia Cash. Michaelia, welcome. I want to start with these heritage laws announced over the weekend. The WA government will now repeal them. We've covered them here. I'm sure as a local you know how hardly fought they have been by WA farmers in particular. Now, a lot of people are saying that this was going to sort things out for the Voice camp in the West, take away the angst on these heritage laws, and people will fall into line and now go back to supporting the yes vote. I have a different view. I think this just amplifies how dangerous the voice in the Constitution is, because at least when the government says, look, we got these laws wrong, it can repeal them. Once change is in the Constitution, it's not readily repealed.
You're absolutely right, Peter, and the decision by the Cook government to scrap what are universally considered bad laws highlights why Australians should say no at the referendum. You can scrap a bad law, but you can't change the Constitution once you've altered it. And Peter, let's just look at what these laws were in Western Australia. They were an attack on the private property rights of Western Australians. If you had a block bigger than 1,100 square metres, and a lot of Western Australians do, you had to seek permission to undertake basic activities such as digging a hole, planting a tree, clearing your land, and guess what? You also had to pay to seek that permission. So, Peter, I think it highlights why Australians should say no to the Voice. You can scrap a bad law, but you can't alter the Constitution once you've changed it.
All right, let's go to the Voice, because the Uluru Statement in particular, the Prime Minister has represented to Australians for many, many months now. It's a simple one-pager. He says, read it. You'll see it's a gracious invitation. Well, in fact, that one-pager is just an extract. You can see it on the screen. That is the extract. There's actually a weighty 26-page document. There's reparations, compensation based on a percentage of Australia's GDP. It talks about treaties with the Australian government. He denied that last week. Well, that's not true. It's in the document. It's out because of an FOI. Why have Australians not been given this full document from the get-go? Why has it been held secret?
Because this government is anything but transparent. They talk a lot about transparency, but in so many of their actions, you are right, Peter, they deal in secrecy. The Prime Minister, on over 34 occasions, has said the Albanese Labor government will implement Voice Treaty Truth, and that is the Uluru Statement from the Heart, in full. And yet at the Gama Festival on the weekend, guess what? He can't even mention now the words Makarrata or treaty. And on how many occasions has he said, it's a very simple document, fits on around, I don't know, 1 A4 page. Well, guess what, Peter? That's Uluru Statement from the Heart. It doesn't fit on 1 A4 page, and it should be compulsory reading for all Australians, because it clearly sets out the intention of the Albanese government. Let's face it, Mr Albanese likes to wear the T-shirt, Voice Treaty Truth, likes to tweet the tweet, Voice Treaty Truth, but when it comes to telling the Australian people what the Albanese Labor government's real agenda is, he runs away from them every single time.
What do you make of the Victorian public servants being told that whether they're going to vote yes or no, whatever their private view on the Voice, they're likely to be asked to work on the yes campaign? They've got little capacity to ask to be taken off working on the yes campaign. What do you make of it, Senator?
Well, in the first instance, I think Victorians and indeed all Australians, they want their government focusing on putting resources towards tackling the cost of living crisis that they are facing. Peter, whenever I'm out there talking to Australians, I can tell you what they're raising with me. The fact that life has become so expensive, they don't know what to do on a daily basis. But Peter, in relation to the article that you referred to, what I found incredibly disturbing is the senior bureaucrat and I have no doubt they do not want to be named for fear of what might happen to them, who said, if you have a different opinion, in other words, if you don't agree with the Victorian government and you want to vote no, you may have your ticket clipped. Well, I don't even know what that means, but I can only assume it means that you could be, I don't know, detrimental action taken against you, not promoted. So I have really grave concerns for Victorian public servants who dare to actually articulate their own personal opinion, because I would hate to see action taken against them.